トのはしたない格好を。
お母様方に言われたくありません。子供たちを放置し、快楽に身を投じ。
Hi there, everyone. Scott and Lars back with another review and analysis for the Apothecary Diaries. Woohoo! We were wrong in our scheduling. We thought that we'd be off this week, but we are not, and it is so exciting to be back because, holy cow, this this episode was phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Wow. I know we keep saying that week after week, but this was.
It was something else for sure. Like we're finally seeing the action come into play. We started a little bit last episode with Shisui like starting the gunpowder room on fire and like everything there, but this episode is just well, let's see, a better term is like it got the avalanche rolling. That's a better term for this episode.
Literally. All right, well, let's dive into the events of this episode so we can quickly get to the analysis. Just like with so many episodes this season, we pick up literally right where we left off in the room with the dead children, and Maomao looking for any sort of explanation for like why would you do this? And Shisui explains that they're all doomed. It's better for her to give the children this merciful way out than to subject them to what is coming. And she sees and expounds on the corruption within her family, within her clan, how her father seems to have lost all of his strength and nerve to her mother, who supposedly once wasn't like this. But as far as she's concerned, now that she looks back on it, Shimei's always been just an awful person who has corrupted the women of this clan and used them as a means of controlling the children and other families, and it's just led to just this festering awfulness. Like, I can say corruption again, but it goes beyond that. It's just the complete degradation of basically a society, something that, as we've seen in previous episodes, it's a beautiful culture, but it's been destroyed by these conniving parents. They're worse than insects, so she's got to go get rid of them. And Shisui goes and has her absolute girl boss moment, slapping Kyo's mom, standing up to her mother and to her father. Her father has just realized, oh no, like the Forbidden Army is coming. There's the explosion down below, which he doesn't yet know was brought on by his daughter. But he's freaking out. He's not sure what to do. He realizes just how weak he's been. And when Shisui is just owning the room, being all like, no more of this, rescues Suede from the closet where she was imprisoned and being forced to listen to all the debauchery going on. He's like, oh, what? He's like, I did not realize that things were this bad. Hello, dude. Use your ears. You are literally next door. And Shisui's like, Dad, you're going to take responsibility, and you're going to be a tanuki. So we know that there's some level of trickery coming. Meanwhile, Lacan and Jinshi pull off their own trickery. They know it's time to attack the castle, and it will be, if they do a frontal assault, it will be a massacre. So Lacan and his adopted son are all like, hey, if we try a different way, if we drop an avalanche right on top of them using explosives, we can bury their armory where they've stored all their gunpowder, and it will make their cannons ineffective. We can then rush from all sides and just crush the rebellion in one go. And Jinshi's all like I agree, that's a good idea, but the counter point to that is, you are the crown prince, you are the heir to the throne. Do you really want to be seen doing something so cowardly, so backhanded? Also, on top of that, you will be expected to go in with the royal guard. You are going on a mission like this, you are going to put yourself in the line of fire. To which we get a revelation with Jinshi saying, I'm no longer the crown prince. Lady Gyokyo has given birth to a son. And so now he can go full blown mad uncle and just start tearing the rebellion apart, which they do. And we get some fantastic action. The Apothecary Diaries is not known for its action. And while this is nowhere near Demon Slayer levels of epicness, for what we have gotten in the show thus far, this is perfect, and it's well animated. They didn't skimp on what they showed. They showed what they needed to, delivered it really powerfully, and balanced the action with everything else. Jinshi busts his way into the palace and fights his way miraculously to where Maomao is. He recognizes her, she recognizes him. She finally realizes that she's been dealing with the crown prince this whole time, but he can't spend time with her. He still has things to do. He has duties to perform, so he hands her off to Lihaku, who, funnily enough, does not recognize her despite all of the time that he spent with her. So this actually says something about Jinshi and Maomao's relationship. We can get more to that later. And Maomao convinces him to help her out with properly burying the bodies, because according to what Lihaku says, all of the rebels, even the dead, will be stacked onto a pyre and burned without any honor. And so for Maomao to give these kids one last shred of decency, which was saved for them in this mercy killing by Shisui, she press gangs Lihaku and some of his men into helping her out, and that is where the episode ends.
And the action that takes place, but like, I love how in Apothecary Diaries, the reasons they're taking these actions matter more than just the action themselves. And that's what frustrates me so much with a lot of anime nowadays, because it's like, oh, we're just going to get in another fight because that's what we do in this show. We just fight a lot. And like, sure, yeah, you're like doing it for survival, or you're doing it for like to get stronger. In this case, there's a lot of like background. There's a lot of work that's been done in the story to make the action that's happening more meaningful. And I love how Apothecary Diaries is handling this.
Oh man, where for me to begin with this? I think I actually I'll come around to one of the points I was discussing with you before we started recording. This episode is wonderfully balanced between the action, which we normally don't get, and all of the cerebral aspects that we've come to know and love for the Apothecary Diaries. We have the mysteries being unfolded, Maomao bringing in all of the clues and drawing conclusions. And so you get all that. You've got the past coming back to haunt the present with what's been happening with Lord Shisou and how he's put himself into this situation, and then balancing that with the action. And on top of that, you have four perspectives in this episode. Four main perspectives. You've got Lord Shisou, you've got Maomao, you've got Shisui, and you have Jinshi. Within 20 minutes, which isn't a whole lot of time, we have planning, we have action, we have storm the castle, we have Shisui getting her girl boss moment. We are having revelations about what happened with the previous emperor and with Suede's real identity, and just the horrible choices that have unfortunately led to her just becoming an abused stepchild. We've got all of that, and none of it feels rushed or not given enough time. The pacing is fantastic in this episode.
I fully agree. I mean, there's just a lot of deep emotions happening here. Like straight from the beginning, we've got like Maomao and Shisui like having this heart-to-heart conversation. Maomao's coming to realization that she's not going to be seeing Shisui anymore. That's the reason she's like there next to the kids, where like Maomao's able to do something for them. Shisui's got her own role that she has to go take care of, and like we see her like take charge and like really dominate what's going on within the stronghold for the time being, before like, well, before and as the royal army is like full on breaking down the door and capturing everybody inside. We also have like Lacan's obsessive drive to save his daughter, who I love how Maomao's like, yeah, don't call him my father. He's what does she call him?
The old man.
Yeah, just call him an old man, and like it's so good. But like, but then Lacan can't be there because he throws his back out because he's an old man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so good. It's so nuanced because it's like Lacan's not able to be there to gloat over Shisou because he's an old guy he threw out his back. And Lacan would like lord it over Shisou if he got the chance.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not gonna get that chance.
Nope. Say he want, and as the thing, like we got that gloating bit already, between their first conversation, at least that we got to see, where he's trying to give Lord Shisou an out and warn him, "I'm on to you." But yeah, it would be 100 times worse.
Yeah, very much so.
If he could be there, and thinking of Lord Shisou. Oh my gosh, he is a fascinating and aggravating character at the same time.
Which, like, a lot of these characters are, because, like, I mean, it's something Demon Slayer had a lot of, but we're getting so much more of it of Apothecary Diaries, where, like, even though we've got this scary baddie, they're, like, we're sympathetic to them at the same time because we're able to see their struggles. We can see like what made them into what they became. And so we're getting this very nuanced look at these characters. So we've got freaking Shisui, who just like one of the biggest no-nos is you don't go after kids. You don't go after kids and puppies. And she went after the kids. But like she's this nuanced character and we're still caring for her. At least I am, up to this point. And we're like watching her take charge and finally like try and right the wrongs that her family has like put down.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's like when people are all like this bitch, and I'm all like, I understand where you guys are coming from, but I'm like, there's so much more. There's more nuance. You can say that about Shenmei, and that fits perfectly for her. But yeah, Shisui has way more depth to her, and the depth that we're getting with Lord Shisou is just like I wasn't expecting. I didn't expect him to be such a weak-willed man, who was weak always kind of from the beginning. Like it makes you wonder, like, okay then. So where was this strength, if you had any? It seems like it was in his intelligence. But it doesn't matter if you're an intelligent person if you're morally weak. And that's what we see here in this episode, is that he could never stand up to his wife when he should have so many times. He was never strong enough to check in on the daughter that the previous emperor told him to take care of. And he's so weak that he can't even step in to try to save his people when ruin is literally happening to them. And so coming back around to, as you said, like Shisui gets her girl boss moment. And we're so used to, in popular media today, if you hear girl boss, it's all like, no, not in my good Christian home. Girl bosses are evil. They're lazy. They're stupid. No, the girl boss archetype and the girl boss moments, when done properly, are truly epic, because it is of a girl who has worked up to a certain position or to a certain point, has earned it, and then someone's all like, nope, you don't get it. And then they fight back and say, no, this is me. And what we've gotten from Shisui, and this is thanks to Maomao piecing everything together earlier in the episode, and also from the flashback of last week's episode, is that we know that Lulan, and then I will just call her Shisui, was so abused and used by her mother. And that by becoming Shisui, she was able to fight back. And thanks to Maomao kind of being there and calling her by that name and treating her as a friend, it gives her, I believe, the courage that she needs to truly see this all the way through. And now she's confronting her father and her mother, who have all the power necessary to shut her down, and she's not having any of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why this is a girl boss moment, because she has earned her position as Shisui. And everyone is in a position to rip that away from her, but she will not let it happen. She's going to do everything she can to save her sister and to save the people that she does love. And that's why it's a girl boss moment.
And it's like a fatalistic girl boss moment, because she knows what's going to happen to her. There's no like redemption. Like she's like part of the whole plot that like Lady Shinmei put into motion, basically, and like Shisou's been pushing forward as well. And so like she gets caught, she's just as dead as the rest of them, but she's like, well, for the time being, just to protect Suide, I'm gonna do what I need to, like for like her own conscience. She's, because like we got that flashback in the previous episode where it's pointing out, she's like, yeah, I just tried to pretend to be the perfect daughter to Lady Shenmei, and like she's like, I'm tired of sitting on the sidelines. I'm tired of like watching all of this evil happen around me. I'm going to take charge now. And like she's got so much willpower in it that like nobody can really fight against her in this case. Lady Shinmei is so morally corrupt, and like you can tell she's feeling betrayed by what's happening. And so she's like kind of stuck in this shock moment. And Shisou, he's finally seeing who his daughter actually is. So he's shocked, but like, again, he's so like, he's such a limp noodle that like he just ends up going along with whoever the strongest woman in his life is. And that definitely changed from Lady Shenmei to Shisui in this episode.
Yeah. One of the morals of the story is don't be a limp noodle who just follows the strongest woman because you're that weak. Follow the strongest woman because you've got convictions.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I love how like the whole kind of romance between Jinshi and Maomao this entire time been so focused around like Jinshi's interested in her because she's not the same as like all of these like simpering ladies in the rear palace. She actually like has her own character. She has her own thoughts. She like a very opinionated and very strong person, like in her own right. And Jinshi's drawn to that, and I like it. Like that's a good romance to me.
Yeah. And to come back to what I said earlier, it's like we'll get back to this, and you've opened up the door for it.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that it was Jinshi who found Maomao. As improbable as that would be, this is fiction. Let us have this moment. It works really well because Jinshi being the one to find her, everyone else is in this mode of must find the rebels, stabby, stabby, stabby. She's in a situation, especially since she gave up Jinshi's hairpin over to Shisui. She's more marked as a rebel than ever before. But Jinshi sees her and immediately recognizes her, despite the months apart, and she's covered in blood and in soot. She doesn't look great, and he recognizes her, and she immediately recognizes him, which is something that when we go on over to his part of the story, that leading up to this battle, that's one of the comments from Lahan to Lacan to other people is that, and Lihaku is that oh, this was him all along. I would never have known. I would never have seen. And yes, Maomao has in many ways been avoiding Jinshi's identity, but that doesn't remove the fact that she recognized Jinshi. And that is very important as far as the development of any romance between these two characters goes, is that it's a far healthier foundation thanks to the slow buildup of 2 seasons of them getting to know each other, getting on one another's nerves, making up, and everything has solidified a solid relationship that even in the midst of battle, they recognize each other, they understand each other.
Well,
And that's really good.
And it's fun seeing it go forward from this point because, like, now it's all out in the open. Because before, Jinshi kept hiding behind the eunuch role, and like Maomao didn't want to know, didn't want to understand. She was trying to protect herself. Now, like, she doesn't really have a choice. But the big thing is like Jinshi's not going to be lying to her anymore. He can be very honest about who he is and what he wants in this relationship, because before they were stuck in their own roles and they couldn't really go past that unless like Maomao actually found out who Jinshi is. And now we definitely have that now. So we can actually make a little bit more progression on that part.
Say, funny that you bring that up, because going forward, so because my mom has come to really love this series, and after she saw this episode, she was just all like, how are these two going to move forward? And move forward because he's now openly acting the part as the prince, and if he's doing that, she's so low born. There's no way that this will work out. I mean, sure, yeah, she can accept that she's Lacan's daughter, which would immediately elevate her, but she doesn't want to do that. So how are we going to make this work without it being a massive scandal? And I'm just all like, I honestly don't know. And that's some really good points.
You should get your mom into the light novel. Let her
I gotta
read
find
ahead.
the light novels. Yeah, here, read ahead.
Yeah, I've had to just ebook them on my phone. They do have them at the bookstores, but I don't know if they've got them all printed out quite yet. But there is a lot of them in ebook format on Amazon right now.
So maybe I'll make that like her birthday present.
I mean, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, such a fun episode. But like, we've got 2 more episodes left, and we're in the climax of the story. So we've got a full episode at the very least that's dedicated to like finishing up the climax. And there's a good chance it's going to extend into that very last episode too.
I want to quickly pose a theory. This is me going out on a limb right here. But I and I can be absolutely wrong in this, but I am wondering if Shisui didn't give the kids the resurrection drug to take them out. My reasoning for thinking this is that Shisui gives over to Maomao the care of their bodies, and go out and bury them in the snow. Which, if you're going to take a person, even if they're just in a coma, and you bury them in the snow, they're not going to survive for very long, drug or no drug. However, there's a better chance of them surviving getting buried out in the snow than throwing them onto a massive pyre where people are going to ensure that there's only ashes left afterwards. And yeah, so it's like, okay, so sure, it's all about the dignity and the mercy going on here, but Maomao seems almost overly adamant to get these bodies buried as fast as possible. And it makes me wonder if it isn't that she's like, I see that you've got something in mind, Shisui. I think you might have one last trick up your sleeve, that maybe you didn't kill these kids. So I'm going to act on that possible hope and see if you prove me correct. Like, that's kind of how I interpreted the very end of this episode, and I'm interested to see if that's one of the tricks that Shisui has yet to play, because it definitely seems as though she's thinking already very far ahead in how she's going to deal with this absolute disaster. Because if she was just resigned to it all ending, why bother taking any of these actions? We've seen her already give the men a way out, give them silver so that way they can live. She already took out the armory long before the royal guard did. She gave the kids the Kool-Aid, and when she got into Lady Shenmei's room, she knew exactly where to go. after slapping Kyo's mom, she went right for the cupboard. Boom, there's her sister. She's got a plan, and I'm excited to see what the rest of that is. But I think that part of that plan is not killing the kids. Actually,
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think it's a good theory, though.
yeah. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, and it absolutely sucks because Kyo is just such a good boy.
I mean, it would definitely redeem a lot of like Shisui's character in this sense. It would be a very good way to do it that way. I agree, but we'll see. It
We'll
might be a
see.
little more complicated than that, but we'll see.
Yeah, and that's one of the difficulties with a story like the Apothecary Diaries is that there is no real happy ending as of yet for any character other than Princess Fuyo. Princess Fuyo is the one character who thus far you can legitimately say that's a happy ending right there. And we're 46 episodes in with so many characters having gone in and out of the story thus far, and all of them have had more complicated, nuanced endings. Or downright bad ones, and so like that. So it's like that's why it's like, oh, this is a real stretch. This is me going out on a limb because that would absolutely be a happy ending. And so far, we've only got one character who's had a happy ending.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen. We're going to be able to sit down and watch this together. Actually, like get live kind of reactions to this.
We won't be able to this weekend because it's not airing this weekend.
That's what you said last week.
That's what I said last week, and I double checked, and this time I found out.
Oh, come on!
I know it sucks. I mean, real quick, I can look it up again, just to triple check. Say Apothecary Diaries episode release schedule. Scrolling. Okay, here we go. June 27th for the next episode.
Oh, that's like 10 days away. No.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
So
that's lame. And like that doesn't make sense to me all that much because like if they did it this week and then release next week, they would have the season done before the next season starts. Speaking of which, we need to do our next preseason review.
Yep. Yes, we do. And I need to start slapping together a video for the Mikadono sisters are easy.
Okay.
Yeah, because I already want to come and just be all like everyone, here's the theory. Though the mangaka is already throwing me for a loop because he pulled a little interesting trick in last week's manga chapter. So we'll get into that in another video.
Well, with all of that, we're gonna call it a night and hope you all enjoyed this episode. Please look us up on all of the different links. I'm sure it's going to be below the video. And make sure you check out a lot of Lars's writing because he's got a lot of really cool stuff that like you should check out. I really, really recommend Bleed Steven Still. So definitely look into that.
Yeah, it's a great book. If I do say so myself. Yeah, everyone, thank you so much for joining us on this incredible adventure that we call writing. And until the next video, y'all, tschüss.
Okini.